Dear friends and colleagues in Kyoto, thank you very much for including me in your Earth Hall of Fame. It's a very encouraging thing for me and very generous on your part. I thought I would take just a few minutes to explain a little bit about the kinds of things that I have been doing and think are important, namely ecological economics and steady state economics. Not everyone has heard of these things, so a few words about them might be in order. The first thing to say about ecological economics is that its basic vision, its pre-analytic vision of the nature of the economy is quite different from standard economics. So the vision of ecological economics is that the economy is a subsystem of a larger ecosphere. The larger ecosphere, that's the basic vision. And within that vision, a number of questions arise. One question is, that ecological economics considers, is how big is the subsystem relative to the total ecosphere? How big is it? Secondly, how big can it be without obstructing or even destroying the functioning of the larger system? And thirdly, how big should it be in order to supply the maximum in the way of life support and welfare to human beings and other species? So these are the questions which ecological economics seeks to consider. Now, the other way of maybe stating some of these questions relative to standard economics is to note that standard economics deals with the question of allocation. How are scarce resources allocated among alternative uses? And the criterion for a good allocation is that it should be efficient, that important uses should be satisfied before unimportant uses. The second question is the distribution of resources among different people, not the division among different uses, but among different people. That then is that distribution is a question of justice. What is a fair distribution among different people, including different generations? And then the remaining question is, what is the optimal scale of the economy relative to the total ecosystem? How big should the economy be? Well, standard economics deals overwhelmingly with the question of allocation. Is it efficient? It does deal somewhat with the question of justice of distribution, but not so much. Ecological economics says, we have to deal very much with the question of distribution because we can't cure poverty by simply growing. So we have to pay attention to a fair distribution. And the fundamental basic question of ecological economics, of course, then is, what is the optimal scale of the economy relative to the total system? And that's what we most focus on. So those are, the big questions that are dealt with. And I must say that they have not been taken over very much by standard economics. And so ecological economics deals with that. We've also attempted to, in ecological economics, to draw very much upon classical economics, mainly John Stuart Mill and the classical economists. Their concept of a stationary or steady state economy, which is an economy which does not grow either in population or in physical capital stock. So this then minimizes the throughput or the metabolic flow, which is the fundamental cost of maintenance of the economy and seeks to minimize that cost which is imposed on the rest of the ecosystem and the sacrifices of environmental services. So I guess you might say we seek very much to question the idea that growth, after we've been doing it for so long, that growth is still economic in the sense that growth increases production benefits faster than it increases environmental and social costs. There's much evidence now that further growth is increasing social and environmental costs faster than it is increasing production benefits. Therefore, in an inclusive sense, it is not economic growth, it is uneconomic growth. It is making us poorer rather than richer. So this is the really important and difficult to assimilate conclusion of steady state and ecological economics, and one that we really need the cooperation of all economists and all people to think about and to help work out solutions to adapt to this new reality. We no longer live in an empty world in which it's easy to grow. We live in a full world in which growth costs more than it's worth. That requires a lot of adaptation. Again, thank you very much for including me in your Hall of Fame. I'm very honored and encouraged, and I wish you all very good health in the future. Thank you.